We'll start dead 6 though, I think. Stephen's on his way, he's on his way. Put a sign every page or just once you approve. We're very close. Okay, we'll make a start. Thank you very much for everyone's attendance this evening. We'll start off with apologies for absence.
No apologies.
No apologies, okay, thank you. Any declarations of interest? No. None? Thank you. In that case, we'll move on to the minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of June, which is Appendix A in the pack there. Are you all happy that that represents the meeting that you attended? Yes, yeah. Can we have a show of hands on that, please? Anyone not happy?
No, we were absent.
Sorry?
I didn't attend.
Oh, you didn't attend. I beg your pardon then. That's a fair comment. So everyone happy?
Yeah.
We will sign the minutes of that meeting. Thank you. Right, moving on to Appendix B, which is evaluation process for the commissioning body. To report back to members the outcome of the evaluation process for the commissioning body. I shall hand that across to your good self.
So the Council has undertaken a robust procurement process and evaluation of the tender for the commissioning body. The report sets out in detail the evaluation process, including details of the evaluation panel, which included an independent consultant called Maggie Atkinson. Maggie has been a director of Children's Services. She served as a president of the Association of Directors of Children's Services in 2008 and was appointed Children's Commissioner in March 2010. Maggie's report on the evaluation process can be found at Appendix 1 of the report, where she confirms that the evaluation process was transparent, clear, impartial and appropriate. The monitoring officer also has a statement from the survivor representatives who observed the evaluation process, and I'll just hand you over to the monitoring officer who would like to read that statement.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Suzanne. I've been asked to read this out on the part of the survivors and the representatives of the survivors panel who attended the evaluation day. 2 survivors and a member of the survivors committee attended the evaluation day to observe the analysis of the bid that had been received. All involved agreed that the bid was of an excellent standard and met the criteria set out in the tender document. Overall, the survivors and the survivors committee are satisfied that the process was done fairly and in a transparent manner. We look forward to meeting the successful candidate.
So the report sets out the key strengths of the successful bidder, which includes a proven track record of undertaking high-profile inquiries, an excellent knowledge of CSE, experience of recruiting a chair, and delivering inquiries in a very tight timescale. The recommendation is therefore to award the contract of commissioning body to the successful bidder.
Okay. Any questions arising from that? So we've all noted that, and we're all... do you have a question?
Well, I'm not sure. Are we going to discuss the paper in front of us, or are we just going to go and vote on it?
Yeah, no, it's in front of you.
Well,
on it, fine.
Yeah, it's just for clarity and understanding, to be perfectly honest, because we are voting, I presume, on the piece of paper, not just a declaration that we accept. Yeah, you saw that? Is that right? Okay. In terms of the cost evaluation, which is on page 11, item 5, subsection 5.2, it says the successful bid's indicative price was competitive, but we only had one bid, so that's not accurate, because it's impossible to say it's competitive if you only had one bid. I just observe that. It also says it's affordable, and that presumably means that the bid they put in, competitive or not, was less than the budget. Is that correct?
It's a difficult one to answer because it depends on this, because obviously what happens in respect of how the commissioning body undertake their work. You know, they bid a rate,
particularly at a fixed rate, then it'll be, this is the number of hours it took.
It'll
Okay.
be what it'll be, yeah, in that respect.
Okay. So affordable again remains to be seen.
Affordable, the rate is what we would expect for this kind of work.
Okay, thank you for that. And then on 6.1, next steps, and then it reads, find details such as accommodation, IT system, hand of relevant information. What on earth does that mean?
It means handover of relevant information. So you'll see from the report, the next report, we've been doing quite a bit of work.
It's
in
just a
relation
typo. It
to,
should be
it's a
saying
typo.
handover.
Yeah,
Thank you.
handover. Sorry.
Thank you. Any other questions? We're all okay? Smashing. Okay. So we've noted it. We have confirmed the report. There's a recommendation in front of us, which is that the successful bidder be awarded the commissioning body contract, subject to the regulatory 10-day standstill period, which will commence on the 22nd of November. The recommendation is in front of you. Do I have a mover and seconder for that?
I would move that, Chair.
A seconder. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. So we can now move straight on to item 5, which is Appendix C, support for the inquiry process. Over to you, Jonathan, please.
Thank you.
Oh, but if I may just hold that.
Sorry, yes.
Yes, a good point here, because a few people have been asking this. We can now give the name of the commissioning body. To you, Suzanne, please.
Evershed Sutherland International LLP.
Okay, that's smashing. And it made sense, obviously, to hold that back while we voted, because no one could then be thought to be favouring one or the other. So thank you for that information. Beg your pardon, Jonathan, over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. This is a general update report, giving members a kind of feel for the work that we've done since we last met. There is, apologies, a mistake on page 27. The last meeting of the advisory group was the 20th of June, not the 21st of June. Apologies for that. I wasn't proposing to go through this in any great detail. I was just very happy to answer any questions that members may have on some of the specifics in there.
So any questions at all? Councillor Nelson?
Anyone else? Okay. Well, we can just go through it. There are some questions. In terms of part 4, indent 1, an inquiry into what had happened in the past will be established. That isn't what members are seeking insurance for. Members are seeking insurance from an inquiry into what's happened in the past and what is currently happening. And the reason I've raised that is that in Maggie Atkinson's record of her work as a consultant, she refers to historical. Okay, it's about historical and present.
I copied that out from an early member advisory group. I'm very happy to have the minutes reflect that.
I would request that they do, please. Only because that reflects the motion, and the inquiry is the result of the motion, and the motion was explicit that one, it should be immediate, for the other, it was historical and current. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah? Well,
Carry
if
on.
we're being asked to consider
Do
the
carry
paper.
on. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Halfway down, officers will meet the commissioning body. Control over the timetable passes to the commissioning body. Presumably there's a tender management issue nonetheless of managing their performance against reasonable timescales. That isn't an abdication of control of the timescale.
Is it worth asking Suzanne to go through more detail of what that means?
It's not just us listening, so it might be worth clarifying that.
In the contract with the commissioning body, we have a schedule called the report schedule, and we will be agreeing as part of the meeting with the commissioning body before we step away and have this contract monitoring function. We will be agreeing sort of key milestones, and we will be receiving highlight reports in relation to where they are, what the risks are, etc. So we maintain this contract's monitoring function,
Okay.
although we step away from the actual inquiry.
Good, understand that. Thank you very much indeed.
Any further questions from anyone?
Are we also considering the pages 29 and 30 in terms of ongoing support? Or not?
Go ahead, John's questions on that.
I was just I'm frankly trying to understand what was being referred to on page 30, because it reads that the council is seeking to commission a support service, offering these three functions. And then towards the bottom of the main paragraph it says the preferred provider for the main service will be asked to be part of the evaluation process. Is that circular? Is there a preferred provider already in place preferred, or?
No, that's part of the tender process. So it'll be to make sure that they can work together.
Right. So at some point there will be a preferred provider who is not currently the preferred provider, and once they are the preferred provider, they'll be the lead provider.
Exactly.
Got it. Thank you. No, thank you very much.
Okay. Any more questions from anyone? If not, well, we have completed the business on the agenda.
Well, you need to just agree that you note those reports.
Yes, well, yeah. Do you want to vote on that?
Well, just
Might be.
receive the updates.
Yeah, we did mention that we've noted the report. Gentlemen, can we all please have a vote to say we noted the report itself that came through? That's B. Can we have a vote, please? All those in favour of it?
Noted what, sorry?
B, which we've already voted on the recommendation.
It's just to receive the updates.
Just to receive the updates.
Just make
Page
sure I'm
24.
voting. Oh yeah. I'm awfully sorry. This might be my ignorance from not attending the last meeting. At the very end, forgive me. By all means, Mr. Chairman, you can ask me to cease, which you've done before. If you go to page 22 and 23 in the cost evaluation, which doesn't solely relate to cost evaluation, stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3, it's just a piece of the logic in stage 3, and you can educate me because I wasn't at the last meeting. I'm sorry about this. It says that the commissioning body will receive a draft report, okay, which they'll review against the TOR. I understand that. They'll then receive in due course a final report. That's to the commissioning body. They'll report this to Cabinet, Council and the Survivors Committee. Okay, that's what that reads. I read that to read at the same time.
Yeah, there's what happens is it'll go to Cabinet. Cabinet will have an action plan, and then that will go to Council, because obviously it follows through.
So it goes to Cabinet first before it goes to anyone else?
It goes to the report is published, and it will go actually to the survivors as well as the council in broad terms.
Could that be clarified, the sequence of events?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
That the final report from the commissioning body will go to Cabinet and the Survivors Committee at the same time.
Yeah, happy to
Thank
clarify
you.
that.
Okay.
That was one of the things that we discussed through the summer.
Yeah.
As a point
Yeah,
of
no,
principle.
that's why I've raised it, because that's not what...
Thank you, that's helpful.
Right, bear in mind where we are. All I'm asking you to do now is to show hands to show that we have noted the evaluation process. All those in favour? Thank you, that's unanimous. That brings the meeting to an end. Thank you for everyone's patience and time. Oh, you may, yes.
I'd like to say something that I feel is important to this inquiry and the way that things have gone about. There's been a lot of myth around the length of time that this has took from our first meeting to where we are today. I have to say that the first delay was down to councillors Nelson and Bentley, because they wanted a survivors panel on here, and for that I'd like to thank you very much actually for that, because we wouldn't be sitting here tonight. The other delays have come from yourself after the first meeting when we voted for stuff. We weren't told that this resolution was involved, so I'd like to make it clear that the second delay was down to us purely and simply because of what had happened in the first meeting. We did ask for a month delay, in which we got. We've now got a solicitor acting on our behalf. So I'd just like to say that all this myth and all this bickering on in the papers and wherever, I'd like to put it right that it isn't solely the survivors that are to be accused of this delay. And, you know, at the end of the day, maybe this could have been done quicker. Who knows? I'm not a, mind reader, but that is what I'd like to put. And I'd like this minuted as well, please, if you don't mind, because I feel that in the press, it's the survivors that have been blamed for the delay, and it isn't the survivors at all. So I'd just like to put that over, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Comments noted and will be in the minutes. Thank you very much for mentioning it, because I think you're absolutely right. So thank you for saying that. But we are now at the position where this advisory body steps back and the commissioning body will take over. It's the area where everyone has really been working towards, and we all look forward to seeing how that progresses. Thank you for your attendance. Meeting is over.